for years and a father to two wonderful children who successfully navigate the American corporate culture. He's created and leads programs for corporate administrators who seek to raise the standard of leadership in the healthcare setting. He actually creates and leads curriculum that elevates leadership skills in middle management. Ivor Chester, welcome to Experience Pros.
Oh, thank you for having me. Good to be here.
Ivor, it is good to have you. Let's talk about what is it that you are most passionate about in your career?
I think you're going to have to answer that kind of with a story. Recently I had an experience where I had a coworker pull me into their office, and they were flipping out over the belief system that they were this person at work, that person with the answers, and they were all that in a bag of chips and salsa, the matter. We're in Texas, I have to say salsa. And they lacked other skills that made them a real dimensional person. They could do it at work, but at home or socially or just out there was something lacking because they hadn't built a purpose beyond just the 9 to 5. So
their identity was locked up in their business, but beyond that, they just kind of ceased to exist.
I could see for many of us, we get all wrapped up in what we do as part of our identity. And so how did you step in? How did your interaction help this person?
Well, I asked them what they were doing beyond just the door, what they were doing just beyond the boundaries of work. And they told me they would go home and they would check their emails, even though they checked them before they left. And then they would tell me they would build departmental structures at home, or they would be on corporate websites, or they would be interacting and doing LinkedIn stuff and social media that was totally just about that. And they were great people, and they were friendly to be around. But there was this masked insecurity that they had built behind a type of a corporate wall that had a false image to it. It just didn't ring true. So I had to help them literally. I said, well, then fine. Why don't you and I go sit down and get a sandwich? And they said, well, I don't know. I've only got about an hour and a half till my next meeting. And I said, it's going to take 20 minutes.
It's a big sandwich.
Yeah, it's just a sandwich guy, And so he was, he goes, okay. And he had to call like 2 or 3 people, like he was asking permission. Huh. And that told me a lot right there. He was somehow waiting to get permission from somebody to be himself, to be the whole dimension of who he really could be, when in reality, we don't have to ask for permission.
All right, Ivor, I get that. How do you, if you've got somebody who's got such baggage when it comes to their belief systems, how do you break through that, break it down, and help them release?
Yeah, well, a belief system comes out of a programming issue. There's a book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself.
Sure, Jed Helmstetter.
The second step on that is belief, which means step 1 is programming. And you're going to have to be the one that's assertive about how you program yourself. If you're programming yourself with just stuff that just randomly comes through, or as I put it, if you're not really assertively programming yourself, it doesn't mean you're not being programmed. You're just not the one doing it. So you're going to have to start programming yourself with material that is going to grow you, is going to nurture you, and start to affect your belief system. So then you can go beyond that into other steps that'll then get you the results that you really want.
Well, we're big advocates for NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and really enjoy the idea of self-positive affirmations. That makes a huge difference. All right. What else should we share with our audience as it relates to how they can go today and take a step in the right direction, a positive direction?
Well, you mentioned positive affirmations.
Sure.
And I'm going to tell you, as a man who for many years I suffered with depression, And it was debilitating, made me homeless, and I had to seek professional help. And I was very apprehensive about positive chat, yak to myself type of thing. In reality, if you're not talking good to yourself, you're not going to believe anybody else in how they talk to you. Or as I tell my clients, that if it's not okay for other people to talk negative to you, it's not okay for you to talk negative to yourself. People have this up in arms belief system that if somebody calls them a name or a slur or something, they're going to get up in drama about it. But the thing is, you're probably already doing it to yourself. So start changing how you talk to yourself. Start drawing lines in the sand that say, nope, I'm just not going to believe it. I'm not going to use words like try. I'm going to do the do concept. I'm not going to accept less from myself. I'm going to go to great instead of settle for good.
I like it.
So I have on my mirror, for example, next to my kids' list as well, I have a list of affirmations that I created, and I asked for a bit of help from my wife and such and some mentors of mine. And I have this list of about 20 affirmations. I say them every day, sometimes multiply. I said them just before I got on the air with you guys about what I need to hear, what I need to say, how I need to speak to myself. And when I hear myself talk better to myself, I can start picking it out from other people when they start to speak in ways that I don't appreciate because of my boundaries. Then I can pick that out very quickly and do something about it and tend to my own garden, my own backyard on it.
If you've never experienced it and you've never done it, I think you dismiss how powerful it can really be, but it is a game changer. Ivor Chester, thank you so much for pouring into our audience today. We want to make sure that they have a way to connect with you. What's the best way for them to do that?
Well, I've got a free gift for all your listeners of my highly acclaimed new book on boundaries. You email me with the subject line book for a free download. It's going to happen in about 7 days.
Going to need that email, Chester.
Here it is, boundariesbook@gmail.com. That's boundariesbook@gmail.com.
There you go. I said Chester. I meant Ivor. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We're grateful for the time. And folks, go get that boundariesbook@gmail.com. And man, that's good news. We'll be back.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us today.
Back after these messages, folks.
America's home for positive business talk. You're listening to the Experience Pros Radio Show. Contact them on the web at experiencepros.com.